Yes, guys, welcome to Chasing Green Arrows. We are back for our emergency special. Guys, is this the best thumbnail we've had all season? Let us know in the chat. Dean, it was your idea. It's a classic thumbnail, right? Dr. Dean.
Yeah, do you know what? When we first started Ranks FC, the podcast, and I was at Bleacher Report, we had the normal pod going, and it was going fine. And then when I was trying to push for us to get a second show a week, and they were like, what segments would you do? Like, what would be? I was like, I want a whole section called the FPL emergency room, and like it would just solve it with problem solving every single week. Like people write in with their conundrums around their fantasy team, and we are the surgeons that carry it out. It never got green lighted, so like this has been like 2.5 years in the making. You don't realize how long this has been on my mind. So to finally see this image is actually really good for me.
That is amazing, mate. Well, look, guys, we are going to be answering all your questions. Today's show is about you. We're going to do like 5 topical questions, but then we're going to be putting your questions in throughout. So literally, we'll have plenty of time to get through all the questions tonight. But first of all, I want to shout out our chasers. CH says, there isn't any kind of surgery that could save my season. She also asked about if we were doctor surgeons, what would be our speciality?
Oh, it's going to have to be something minor for me.
I'd be like some sort of physio style role.
I used to want to be a physio, you know. I always
too.
thought, like, what was my way into football going to be? Like, obviously, you start dreaming as a footballer, that starts to fade. So I was like, well, journalism, I'm good at English, blah, blah. And I was like, I used to look at the photos, like the team photos, and be like, how could I get in that photo? And I always be like, well, it's the kit man or the physio. The kit man and the physio is the only way I'm ever going to get in a team photo. And turns out to be a physio, you got to do about 10 years of exams. So that was out the door. And a kit man, I don't know how you become a kit man. But do you know what? I'm actually speaking to one this week.
Oh, yeah, go
on. To a kit man this week. So I'm literally interviewing him in a few days' time. He was the kit man for Fulham and for Chelsea during the Mourinho days. So I'm going to ask him, like, how do you even become a kit man? So anyway, we've got off piece here a bit. I'd have to. Do you know what? I think I'd go for a plastic surgeon.
Oh, like that. That's an industry to be in, isn't it? Like you get a lot of cosmetic surgery now for
bit of money.
Surgeons. So yeah, good money.
Yeah, I just chase money if I can. Hasn't gone very well, but I do chase it.
There we go. Guys in the chat, let us know what you'd be. I mean, I'm guessing there'll be a few that maybe go. I don't know. Player liaison would be cool. Media officer. I think it's pretty strenuous.
Yeah, I also think it's a bit of a weird job because you're constantly like annoying players. Like, sorry, do you mind coming to speak to this person for me? Like, they're like, get away from me. Get away from me.
Hated.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, when that person comes over, you know, you're being asked a massive favor and the player didn't want to do it. Stay away from them. Yes, guys, Dave and Mark and Geddy and Frank and Tiffany, Adam's with us and Craig. I'm 1974 Nuclear. Welcome to you and Frode. All the big names. Thank you, chasers. Hit the like button. If you're not already subscribed, you guys are all subscribed.
Oh, yeah.
One or two of you that maybe aren't. So hit the button. Hit the button.
Yeah, we really could do. We could hit 5,000 like this weekend. Amazing. We got back-to-back shows. We're here today. We're here tomorrow. Genuinely, like, if you're new here, if you've been around a few times, like, please press subscribe. It would mean a lot to us if we could get to that 5K mark. So that'd be great.
If we get to 5K by the end of tomorrow's show, I will do a dare that someone writes in the chat to do live on air. I mean, within reason. Maybe I'll filter the dare. So yeah, let's get to 5K, guys.
I like it. I've just had a message on the side from our producer saying, Dean, you've just got a message on Twitter from YouTube creators, and they've got 6 million followers. So if you're in the chat, hello, YouTube creators. If you're not and you were just on Twitter, then fine. But said, need some tips on who to captain for the last game week. Not going to lie. Look, we're definitely going to be going down that path in this show. So stick around if you are YouTube creators or if you're anybody else. Yeah, we're here to answer. I don't care if you've got 2 followers, if you've got 10 million. We're going to treat you all the same in this emergency room. There's no priority queue. You're all going to get your questions answered. You're all going to have your problems sorted. I just did a video on Instagram, actually, and I was like, to be fair, it'll probably be Gianni sorting them because he's way better at this game. But I'll be here for the ride. I'll join in.
I love that. Thank you, mate. It's very kind of you. Geddy says this show has been one of my favorites this season. Very good, Dean. And Gianni clap. Thank you, mate. Can we put the dare on Twitter, C8? No, we can't because there will be too many suggestions. I won't be shaving my head. I've just shaved my beard, if that counts. No, it'll be something more trivial, like, I don't know, down that pint of water next to you. That's a bit rubbish, but you know. Should we crack on with some questions? Because game week 38, what does it face? Well, let's just get a Havertz tattoo. Amazing. Thanks.
Yeah, you should.
It's got to be something I can do in the next 20 seconds of that there. But look, let's look at some questions because this week there are so many and they're around captaincy. They're around players that we think might start or might not start. They're around teams with stuff to play for. So without further ado, I have gone with 5 big questions. We're going to start with number 1, but at the same time, we want your questions coming in. If you can make them a bit general for other people, that'd be great. Like, don't necessarily ask, this is my team, what would you do? But if you want to ask, you know, if I'm looking for a mid-price midfielder to buy, who should it be? That's a really cool question that others will benefit from. There we go. What time tomorrow, says Mark? It will be in the evening, so similar time to this. Probably 7, maybe 7:30. So yeah, around this sort of time.
Around 7ish, yeah. Probably the same sort of time, hopefully, yeah.
And it'll be a very different show. Like, rather than be Q&A, it will be, we're going to concentrate on some captaincy discussion, but also look at a free hit draft, which is relevant for so many things. Not if you're on a free hit. Great, of course it is. But also other players you might look at this week. But let's start with the first question. Are the teams with nothing to play for worth considering, Dean? Because the whole on the beach thing, we've spoken about this in the last few weeks. There's 2 narratives there. 1, I don't care and my performance level dips. Or 2, nothing to play for, play with expression and freedom like Crystal Palace and Fulham have been recently, and you actually get tons of goals.
This is the thing, mate. You know, you can... This is a free hit for all of us this week because, like, honestly, I don't think there are many bad picks in the game. The worst picks, I think, are like the best Man City players are probably the bad picks for this week because there's a chance of them actually not playing and they cost a lot of money. Whereas there are plenty of players playing in meaningless matches, their last game of the season, and they've got nothing to lose. And there'll be some big score lines coming this weekend. So, yeah, look, there's games that will jump out at you. Like you say, the Palace Nottingham Forest game is one. Man United Fulham, that's a bit of one too. Yeah, they're probably the best. Chelsea Newcastle even could be an interesting one. I know Newcastle got a little bit on the line here, but not a lot. And Chelsea will have a few players just like, I don't know, playing their last game ever or something like that. So yeah, I do think they are worth considering. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think, as Dean says, like some of those fixtures there really stand out. Like Palace Forest is a big one for me. I also like home advantage. I don't think we've got that as a separate question. So the teams with nothing to play for, but with home advantage that have had good seasons. That's the key. Home advantage, if you're Southampton's rubbish, because there's going to be loads of empty seats. The fans aren't really there to celebrate. The lap of honour with the kids on the pitch. Does that happen at Southampton on Sunday? Probably not. Not really. It'll be a bit of a rubbish effort. Yeah, Crystal Palace, at Arsenal, at Aston Villa, there'll be big cause for celebration at Everton if they stay up. And therefore, I think there's that increased performance from the likes of Palace, from the likes of Arsenal, because they're celebrating really good seasons. And these are teams with nothing to play for on paper, but I think a lot to play for in terms of FPL points to gain.
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's a few players like Aston Villa. I think they're a really interesting team in this game week, and they've on such a good vibe. I know Brighton is a difficult fixture, but Brighton having just cemented their place in the Europa, they've just had a. I don't know what the celebrations were beyond what we saw in the dressing room, but they went pretty mad in that moment. So there's a chance here for Villa to get a decent win under their belts, I think. I don't know if I trust Ollie Watkins. I don't know what's happened to Ollie Watkins. Yeah. Really weird.
He's not being linked with Bayern Munich anymore, is he? He was a month ago.
No, mate. He's not being linked with anyone at the moment because
is he in the England squad? Did he make it?
I don't think so, no. But yeah, when was it? What was it? 7 weeks now? Is it 7 weeks since he scored?
Maybe. And he probably went on a 7-game run of just goals, didn't he?
It was literally. He's gone from literally one extreme to another, Ollie Watkins. I mean, look, Aston Villa are going to look to give him a new contract this summer, so they're clearly happy with him. But Aston Villa are also going to sign another striker, so it'll be interesting to see how he deals with that competition. Yeah,
even though they got the American guy, was it Duran? They got him in Jan, and he's not really played, is he?
No, he's one for the future. I don't know when that future's coming. A quick question from Taufik, because that probably does fit in with this section. Teams with nothing to play for would be
Yes.
Fulham. Thinks Mitrovic is a good pick for captaincy.
I like that.
I like it. Captaincy.
Oh,
Man
maybe
United
not yet. Sorry, I don't like
Man
it.
United
Captain, but I like
away
the
is
pick.
probably a bit bold for me to go captaincy. I do think there's a strong chance of Mitro scoring. Yeah, I don't know about a good pick for captaincy, Taufik, but I think it's a good pick. I do think it's a good differential pick.
It's one of those where owning him is probably enough and differential enough.
Yeah.
The XG against United against Chelsea on Thursday night was like 1.9. Like United's XG was like 5. It was their Premier League record. So United were amazing in attack, but against them, plenty of chances. And
The
Fulham,
chances
unlike Chelsea, have a striker.
Like if those same chances fell to Fulham, they
Mitchell
score
gets
3
a hat-trick.
goals. Yeah, they would.
Yeah.
They would have taken those chances. So I'm not saying it will happen, but Man United will probably be weaker than they were against Chelsea, and they'll probably be less motivated than they were against Chelsea. So potential there for sure.
Yeah, I like that. So there's our thoughts on teams with nothing to play for. Good, bad, ugly. Guys, thank you for your questions. Peter says, is it time for Dean's best friend Garnacho? Dunno. I still think we've heard from Ian last week. Like, we don't see a huge amount of rotation there, do we? Even this Sunday, I don't think we'll get a huge amount.
I'm really surprised. Like, even against Chelsea, like I thought we'd see more of him. Like
5 minutes was it?
I don't really understand what the point of that is. Like, what are they doing here? Especially like, look, I have to see what the injury news is on Anthony, but I haven't checked it today to see what like.
Didn't look great though, did it?
Didn't look great. I mean,
it looked like he was out for the cup final with the way by his reaction.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the challenge and I was like, he's pretending. And then I saw how he actually was reacting. I was like, oh, he could be out for a while. What on earth's happened?
Boy who cried wolf.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem with him. They do want to obviously play Sancho into form, so I think it's probably an opportunity for him to start again. Rashford, you're going to imagine they want minutes in him.
Yeah.
Going into the cup final, they're going to want him built up, like especially if he was sub again in midweek. So I don't think you're going to see a start from Garnacho. Probably best case half hour. He did score against Fulham, though, of course. Like, don't forget, like that was his big moment.
Goal.
He scored last minute goal against Fulham. It was the last game before the World Cup too. Like it was, I was at that game and it was unbelievable. United fans absolutely love this lad. Like they are obsessed with him.
One of Ian's favourites as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he said, didn't he? He said he was the most exciting player in his eyes. So I like it. Maybe next season. Let's see. Maybe Garnacho can be an asset next season.
Yeah, he's someone you hope gets a loan move to like an Aston Villa, and you're like, yeah, now I can get him 4 million in my
play
team.
him every week. Yeah.
Luke Shaw, by the way, I haven't seen the press conference today, but and we'll talk more about injury news in tomorrow's show. But yeah, Luke Shaw, by the fact he went off so early, I'll be surprised again if he's okay for tomorrow. So yeah, probably don't expect much there. Let's move on with our questions. So that was our first question, which is sort of big question of the week. Another big question of the week, though, is will the teams with nothing to play for see mass rotation? So let's just take a couple of those big teams. So we've spoken about United and what we think about rotation there. Arsenal's an interesting one because I think we should, if you haven't got an obvious transfer and we're looking for fixtures with high ceiling, the big ones for me are Liverpool and Arsenal. So let's address team selection with Liverpool and Arsenal in this answer. So currently, Arteta, we know it's said Martinelli's out, but he's also said there's been an issue with Saka, Trossard. So I was like, okay, I was going to buy Trossard this week. Who else can I buy in that position for that sort of money? Oh, Reece Nelson, good one. And then I looked, and the issue is also with Reece Nelson apparently as well. So Nelson, Trossard, Saka, all are doubtful. So hard to predict unless we get team leaks. Could Smith Rowe or Fabio Vieira or both of them start? Maybe. But then if they're playing, do we back a big scoreline? I'm not so sure.
Yeah, exactly that. Bit annoyed about Saka because I went in early and I've transferred Saka in. So I'm a bit worried about this, to be honest. Yeah. But he said, the issue with Saka's been going on a few weeks. What's one more week? You've been rolling him out every other week. Like, why not do it one more time? Leave him out of the England games rather than worry about this one.
Do you know what I mean? Go on your summer holiday, mate.
Honestly, like, give Saka a run out.
That please. England team should be seconds, in my opinion. Should be.
Ridiculous.
It should be like have a break. You've had your longest season ever.
Honestly, unbelievable, isn't it? Look, it makes sense definitely to leave Saka out, but I think it's his Achilles as well, isn't it? So it's it's an injury like that could definitely affect somebody that has his assets. But I'm hoping, because I've made this silly transfer already. I think it's the first time I've done that in ages, but I didn't see that coming.
Resorting to like the game.
Honestly,
Don't
it was
care.
it was one of those. I literally just looked for a player that the guy ahead of me in my mini league hasn't got, and I was like, right, I need a differential. He hasn't got him. He won't pick him. I'm going all in. And I was thinking, right, it's going to be I knew he's got Salah coming in, so I was like, he's going to have Salah. I'll go Saka, and let's just hope for the best.
All right, that's Arsenal. We'll address Crystal Palace as well, because Colms asked a really good question, and Palace are another team that fit this bracket. But Liverpool up next. In the past, we've seen Jurgen Klopp go into the final day with complete dead rubber, and he has played like it's complete B team. Will he do that against Southampton? I'm not so sure, because there'll be sort of goal totals and the likes of Salah are going for. He said he's going to be a little bit more experimental. I can't remember the term he used, or something like that. So it will be a chance for some of the players that haven't always been starting to start. So we might see, I think, for example, Jota could be a really nice punt. I think Jota has a very good chance of starting over, say, a Hackper off the basis of that quote. Not the easiest players to reach. Darwin could be a punt. Midfielders, I don't know. I don't think you're going to be going for a Carvalho. I think it's a little bit too punty. But what's your take on the Liverpool selection? Like Tsimikas could play instead of Robbo, for example, who's had a knock.
I'll be honest. I mean, my last game week's not looking good, because I've still got Gakpo in there, and you're right. Like, he's one of the ones that could go for a game like this. He'll still get game time, so hopefully a cut chance. It's an easy game, isn't it? It should be a big win, this one, for Liverpool. So I'm confident that I'll get some points on the board in that sense. I think Jota, you're right. That could be one to look out for. Firmino, obviously, is...
Do you reckon he's like to start or come off the bench? Because he had his big farewell already. And I wonder if Firmino doesn't even feature, because he's had that goodbye now. And they're planning for next season, so they want to see Jota and Darwin. Or do you think
I don't think
Firmino
this team is playing next season. I don't think half this team are going to be playing like in that set. Like he knows what he's got from the core of this team coming in already. He's going to add to this squad over the summer. Be seeing like 4 players, I think, coming in that are like significant, pushing for places. So I think Firmino could actually start. I mean, it's Southampton. We know what Southampton are. They're on their knees. Firmino's the ultimate professional. If he doesn't start, I still fancy him to get a good run out. And as we know, there's a good chance that he'll score. Taufik says the same. He said, I think he might start, considering it's his last game and it's basically a dead rubber. Yeah. Exactly that. If there was anything on the line for Liverpool, if they were still chasing down 4th, then probably not, because he's got to take it very seriously. But even then, like Firmino's, he's not a mug, he's still, but might have a start then. But I think in this sense, I would personally start him. Gabrielle says, what about a James Ward-Prowse farewell game?
Oh, fair point. Fair point.
I mean,
didn't think of that.
The problem is, unless they get a free kick in a decent spot, I'm not sure what you're going to get from James Ward-Prowse.
Or a pen, although he misses more pens than free kicks.
Mate, he hasn't a very good season, to be honest, overall. I know a lot of Southampton fans are quite annoyed with James Ward-Prowse and have been at certain stages of the season. It will be his last game. He'll definitely leave Southampton. He's been a loyal player up to now. Obviously, there was one point, I think Aston Villa he was interested in joining at one point. But there'll be some interest in him from West Ham, from Newcastle this summer.
Really? Newcastle?
Yeah, Newcastle were interested in him. He was touted at being like 70 million a year or so ago.
Because I remember Gerrard was keen at Villa, wasn't he? I think did they bid?
I think so. I think it was Gerrard's time. I mean, James Ward-Prowse, you're probably getting for 40 now, aren't you? So
the English tax. If you weren't English, it'd be 25.
Yeah, I mean, with English tax, you might even go higher. But given the Saints are gone and he's got to leave, it'd be interesting to see what he ends up going for. But could be a good asset for us next season, depending on which team he joins.
Yeah, in a good team, and again, a good team with the aerial presence as well, because we know the set piece threat is there. Yeah. We should mention Palace, Dean, because I saw some quite. I think Cole asked about Palace. I don't think we're going to see mass rotation with Palace. I don't think that's the concern. It's one, it's a small squad. Two, it could be Roy Hodgson's last game. He wants a big result.
Is, yeah.
He's quite sold to these players who haven't been playing twice a week. They've been playing once a week. They're fresh. Elise, Eze, even Jordan Ayew or Edouard, but Elise or Eze, good picks this week. Really good picks. And Eze's just got an England call up. Like, what more motivation for him to perform?
Exactly. That comes right in what he says here. There's no way Roy rotates. He's not looking at players for next season. He's not bothered with what happens next season at this point. I mean, half the Palace squad are out of contracts, I think. I mean, they've got massive overhaul to come. He's done his job. He's kept him in the division. And he can just go and relax at this one, enjoy himself. He'll want to win, obviously. So I think that these guys definitely assets. We know that he gives them freedom. Eze, I probably prefer out of the two. I love the story behind Eze and the determination it's taken for him to get to this stage and, overcoming rejections and stuff like that. He's such a strong mind that he's got. He's a brilliant footballer. I think Eze is a really good pick.
Yeah, I love that. Craig asks, he says he's really hoping to get some team leaks half an hour before the deadline. And I'm sure we'll get some. FPL Twitter is going to be crazy. Hope the servers don't go down. So don't leave it to the last 2 minutes. Leave it to the last 10. If not, I think I'll do McAllister to Eze. And that's probably, my plan was McAllister to Trossard. But if Trossard's a doubt and I don't hear from him, then Eze feels like a really good move, Craig. And if you've got McAllister and say Matoma, it's a tricky one because the Brighton midfielders have been being rested. Matoma hasn't really been rested. He missed one game 6-7 games ago. But McAllister, I think he's missed 2 of the last 3. And I think that's not a rest. That's De Zerbi preparing for life without McAllister and seeing how Caicedo and Gilmour link together, or Gilmour and Gross link together. So for me, I wouldn't be surprised to see McAllister miss out again.
Yeah, I mean, Caicedo won't be there either, so we should probably bear that in mind. Russell says, is Trent a good buy? And I guess talking about teams with nothing to play for and rotations, going back to Liverpool there, Trent plays, doesn't he? Definitely plays. So. And I think he'll love Trent a fixture like this. Safe. Yeah, I think Trent will be really looking forward to this game. It's been obviously a bad season on the whole, but the fact he's managed to, in the last 2 months, turn everything around, turn his reputation around too, get himself out of the mud, played some brilliant stuff, shown us that he's basically the best quarterback in soccer. Wouldn't put another goal past him, to be honest. He's really got that radar going at the moment. He's getting closer and closer all the time, and he's obviously got a beauty as well.
Yeah. Before we move on to the next question, Newcram says, so is Matoma a guaranteed starter? No, he's not. But my theory on Matoma starting is, 1, he's been playing well despite terrible finishing. He's been getting the chances. We've all seen his XG. He's been dodging points. But 2, De Zerbi about a month ago spoke about Matoma not being ready to play twice a week every week, but having to get used to that because next season they're going to be in Europe. They've achieved that. They're going to be in Europe next season. And therefore, I think he wants Matoma to go through this. And I think he likes the idea of Matoma getting these minutes in his legs, knowing what it's like to play twice a week and how to save energy when you need to and how to go when you need to. So again, yes, he played Thursday night. Was it Wednesday night? I can't remember. Wednesday. But again, I think he probably plays Sunday as well. And if you look, he's been getting 90. And like I said, I think he missed one way back when. But because the chances have been there, because Solly March is out as well, I think we'll see him start. And Buonanotte started last time out. Maybe it's Enciso from the right. Again, I think Enciso starts. And if I could get to Enciso or Ferguson, who I think starts, maybe I would. But yeah, Matoma feels safer than McAllister just for minutes. And even if they both start or both don't, the way they're both playing, Matoma's getting more chances. McAllister is not playing in the 10 role. He's playing in the 6 role. So again, Matoma over McAllister just for me. But it's a tight call.
Again, I've got Buonanotte is in my team, so he's on the bench at the moment, I think. But I was going to say, in terms of, I don't know if you were going to address this later in the show, but someone asked me earlier on socials about what tactically with their FPL team, what I thought was is there a good approach for the final day? And I definitely think it's have as few defenders as possible because of the amount of goals that are expected and genuinely do arrive on the last day.
Yeah.
Just get as many potential goal scorers in that team as you can. Clean sheets are very, very difficult to predict on a day like this. And I think there'll be few and far between too. So yeah, I would say go with 3 at the back, and then decide what you do from that point on.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm just looking at Leeds. I think Leeds will score goals, but again, Rodrigo is flagged, so is Bamford. So again, it's team news dependent. But I think they'll go down. But I think they'll score goals against Spurs. But let's move on to our question number 3. So we've got 5 to get through, and I want plenty of time for you guys. So question number 3, we have: is this the week to punt against Haaland, captain? And we'll do more on captaincy in tomorrow's show. But top line, Dean, what do we think first? Let's address Haaland minutes. I think Man City go full-ish strength because the last couple of games, they've been so mismatched. And I wonder if Pep's thinking ahead of the FA Cup final, which will be 6 days away, and the Champions League final, which will be 13 days away, I need rhythm. I need momentum, and I need my core players gelling together again. And that's the reason to make sure Grealish and De Bruyne and Haaland and Rodri are all in that same team together, and Gundogan. And I think the vast majority of those names start, and therefore I include Haaland in that.
I think so too. I think it'd be risky even by Pep standards to go with mass rotation for this last game and then expecting everything to come back together in time for the cup final and then the Champions League as well. I think there's a lot to be said for having momentum and consistency in your lineups in a moment like this. Like, obviously, there might be small tweaks for each game just based on who you're up against, what their weaknesses might be, and just preying on a couple of things like that. But I'd say 9 out of the 11 should be fixed, to be honest. I'll be surprised if it wasn't. But it still might be a week to punt against Haaland captain just because so many people will still go with him. Like, the majority of people in this game will stick with Haaland just because it's tried and tested. But if you're going to chase, you can't go with him, can you? Like, I don't think. Like, I think
if you're chasing, you just can't.
You just can't. It's pointless, and you're not going to have any fun on the last day because the chances are half the people around you have done exactly the same thing, and the points for Haaland mean nothing. So, yeah, unless you're like our very own Ali and you're sitting on top of the pile, and you really can't take gambles, you've got to see this out as logically as possible. Then have some fun. What do you think, mate? By the way, Ali, we haven't even mentioned him yet. He's still there.
17 points, I think it is.
One of our viewers is top overall in the standings of the official FPL game. He's been there a long time. I think 17 or 18 points clear of second at the moment. He's gonna do it, isn't he?
I'd love to think
That's
so.
I spoke to him.
I WhatsApped him yesterday and we were voice noting each other, and I was saying, mate, what are you going to do with captaincy? I don't want to reveal too much, but I said to him, look, everyone below you in that top 10, say, are going to assume you're captain Haaland. So they're going to captain Salah. There's no point in them captain Haaland. So I was like, with that in mind, should you be captain Salah? To just, because that's who can hurt you. So it's kind of that catch-22. And, I don't want to say what he said to me,
but
of course, it's a really interesting one because you are playing poker on the last day with your mini league rivals. It's like that. It's mind games. It's poker,
Oh my goodness. I hadn't even thought of like that side of it for him. He's not going to sleep.
He said he's going to make a spreadsheet of all the players that can hurt him from each team in the top 10 or top 15 or top 20. So we'll go for every manager and see all the players and then try and work out who he's got to look out for. So he might have to make, say, a defensive transfer or play his own game and go attacking. But yeah,
I mean, you can only really get stung on captaincy. It's a big gap. Like 18 points is a decent lead to have.
Yeah,
but it's one bad captain call away. Like if Salah does score a hat trick at Southampton and Haaland doesn't score or only scores one, that's it.
He said like, I just need this to be a low scoring game week. I need the average to be low. I need very few goals. It's like last day of the season. You just know it's never like that.
You want that to happen.
It's always goals.
Yeah, Pete says, imagine losing it, having not captained Haaland on the final day. Well, that's the other side of it, isn't it? Like, it's the most predictable thing in the world is if Haaland plays, he scores. So, suddenly I don't envy him.
No.
He's, he really should be the envy of everyone on this show right now. But knowing what he's got ahead of him in the next 2 days, he's not. Can you imagine him watching these games?
Oh, it'd be horrible.
He should have a live stream on. He should have a live stream.
Do you imagine the views?
It would be unbelievable. You just need to label it, will I win FPL? And just have camera on him for 90 minutes.
Yeah, watch along.
Absolute gold.
Really,
we should have got it on here, actually.
He's missing a trick there. Maybe I'll send him a DM.
Yeah, a DM. Come on, Ali.
Let's move on to Ali. If you're watching this, I know you will be watching this. You're obviously not in the chat, but you'll be watching it on demand. So yeah, good luck to you, and I'm sure we'll see you in tomorrow night's stream live anyway. But let's move on to question number 4. More on captaincy tomorrow. We'll go through some of those other options away from Haaland and give you some of the numbers on them. Are the teams with nothing to play for? Here we go. Who are the dark horses for game week 38? Any sort of big performances we think we might get, Dean? Like, for example, I think Leeds could be good FPL assets. I'm not saying I think they stay up. I think Leeds score goals, and therefore, if a Rodrigo or a Bamford are starting, I don't mind that call. But I'm sure there's others out there too.
And that's the problem, is that you know, if out of those two, I'd have to go Rodrigo. He seems the more likely to actually play, and he's scored two goals under Allardyce already, and I think they've only scored 4 goals under him. So like, he's the guy you're probably going to go for there. But he's flagged. He's probably going to have to play no matter what.
Yeah, wheel him out.
And I think Leeds will get a goal, but I don't actually share your confidence, mate. I think Leeds are going to go down, and I think that Tottenham will expose them as the game starts to open up. I mean, I know Tottenham haven't been that good, but at the end of the day, they've still got Kulusevski, Son, Richarlison, and Harry Kane. Like, it doesn't take a lot for them to sweep away and score a goal. And Leeds, unfortunately, just can't keep clean sheets. It's been a bad run for them. So I don't know that I do trust Leeds. I mean, as dark horses, like, I think Fulham genuinely could be a dark horse. I think Fulham going to Old Trafford on the final day on a revenge mission after what happened in the FA Cup, with nothing to lose, nothing to play for, and just playing their full strength team that have been brilliant all season. I think Fulham could, if they don't win, at least score a couple of goals. Like, I genuinely think Fulham will have something to offer in that game. So Ali's here. Hi guys, miss after this. Ali,
literally is a bit burning.
Literally, we just stopped talking about you, mate. Maybe rewind and then catch up again. But we're all proud of you, and we're all cheering you on, mate. So good luck. The other dark horses, in my eyes, look, people look at West Ham, and everyone's just like, yeah, but they have one eye on Europe. They have one eye on Europe. They've still got to play this game. They're still professionals, and they're still better than Leicester. And Leicester have got so much pressure on them coming into this game. It might be that there are West Ham assets here that we probably shouldn't sleep on. Like, Leicester really are not that good. And I don't know. I've just got a feeling that we're all presuming West Ham just aren't going to turn up for this game. It hasn't really been the case with them whenever they've had a big European tie recently, because they've built up consistency and belief.
Oh, it's not till the 7th of June, that West Ham game.
Exactly.
7th of June, like, they're not going to have eyes on Fiorentina in 10 days' time.
Break.
If anything, they need to go full strength because they've got like 10 days rest.
I just don't see the argument really for not. I
assumed it was like 4 days later from the way people have been talking about it. I mean, the Roma Sevilla game in the Europa League final was next Wednesday, but yeah, so I assume they were both around then. But no, 7th of June.
Not. Yeah, exactly that. Christ. So I think last year they were close. I think they were back to back, those two finals last year, but they're not this year. And I think that, and because of that, I think West Ham are dark horses in that fixture. Like, they've had such a pick me up in terms of form and everything really in the last 2 months. So yeah, West Ham are the dark horses for me.
I love it. Magic69 says, Dean and Janny talking about Ali like he's their adopted son. We are proud. We are. Ali's been watching Chasing Green Arrow since day one. That is so cool.
It is an unbelievable story, and we're going to milk it for everything that's there.
If it wasn't for us, no, we can't claim any of his success.
I'd like to say that's true, but it's not.
Ali, you've just missed the chat. We literally go back 5 minutes before you join, maybe 3 minutes. But it was suggested that maybe you'd want to do a live watch along. Now, I don't think you'd want everyone to see quite your emotions as goals go in or don't in game week 38. But if you fancy it, then do let us know.
Yeah, Ali, at the very least, if you don't want to go live on Chasing Green Arrows for 2 hours throughout the game, we'll let you off. But what I'd like you to do is at least have a camera set up of you watching the afternoon's games, and just leave it. Just leave it so we can see your moments. Your highlight reel is going to be the most interesting thing out there on the final day. Yeah. So yeah, go for it, mate.
Delighted to see official FPL Twitter account quoting Ali in today's tweet as well. And look, for you guys that are in the chat, FPL Guns, you can click on his profile. and follow his Twitter, his YouTube page as well. So do subscribe there, and obviously make sure you're subscribing. FPL Goggle Boxes, Craig. Make sure you're subscribing to Chasing Green Arrows as well. We want to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of tomorrow night's stream. We're streaming tomorrow as well. Let's move on from dark horses to our final question before we just take your questions. We've still got 25 minutes to go. Which teams are most likely, and Dean, we said like swerving defenders, but who gets a clean sheet? I've got one for you. I think, look, they're not the most likely if you were to go off the bookies odds, and we'll look at those odds in a sec. I think a team that will get a clean sheet is Everton. If Everton get a draw against Bournemouth, they stay in the Premier League. Sean Dyche needs a clean sheet to stay in the Premier League. Surely he gets it. Surely he gets it. Patterson is ruled out, so we could see Michael Keane right back with Mina and Tarkowski centre back and McNeil left back. So it's a bit of a weird looking back four, but I fancy Everton to sneak a 0-0 or a 1-0.
That's a good one. I will tip Arsenal for a clean sheet. I'll tip Liverpool for a clean sheet. And
City?
No, Brentford are too good. I think Mbuemo, every time Tony doesn't play,
he smashes it.
He smashes it. Like, it's no problem.
He loves being the talisman, doesn't he? The main man.
Yeah,
feeling loved.
So that basis alone, I'm going to say no. I'd say the other one, mate, look, Chelsea are rubbish. So I'd say Newcastle. Newcastle might actually get back to clean sheets.
So we go Newcastle, Arsenal, Everton, Liverpool. I don't see United or Fulham. I don't see Leicester or West Ham or Leeds, Spurs. Yeah, I think Man City could, but Villa, Brighton, could Villa keep it clean? They're not bad defensively, and Brighton, they've been celebrating.
I just think the game might be a bit too wild, is what I would say.
Could be end to end.
I do think Villa could win it, but I think it could just be a bit of a wild one.
Basketball game.
Yeah.
I think
that's a problem.
Guys, let us know in the chat who you think will keep a clean sheet. Give us the word. Give us the team name. And Bemo has a high ceiling and he's only 23. Yeah. And look, when Dean watched him earlier at Craven Cottage earlier this season, he came back from that game. And Dean, you were like, watching him live, you realise what a player he is. I didn't realise he's 23 though.
Yeah, he's really, really good. One of those little eye tests that just jumps out. He's probably been the most standout case actually for me at Fulham this season. Really, really, really good player. It was his movements on that day. Like, he was just always dangerous. At any time Brentford attacked, I was just panicking that he was going to get the ball because he would score. Really, really like him.
Yeah. I do as well. Guys, thank you so much for all your suggestions in the chat. We're going to answer your questions too. Spurs clean sheets is Capil with Porro 15-pointer. I definitely see Leeds scoring. I think they'll be throwing the kitchen sink at Spurs early on.
They'll score a goal, yeah.
Do we think the Premier League clubs will snap up from the relegate? Oh, I like that question, but maybe it's more pre-season chat than now. But we can do 30 seconds on it.
Come back, yeah. I mean, well, first things first. Like, we're going to be doing. I'm going to be doing some transfer shows across the summer. Like, we haven't exactly decided on when and stuff yet, but like, look out on socials because I'm going to be getting some guests on and doing some proper transfer shows. And we'll definitely be digging into that and hopefully getting some exclusives too that we can try and combine with FPL. But that Southampton team is going to be eaten up. Like, there's loads of players in there. Like, Lavia's going to go.
Yeah, Bella
Koch might end up going abroad, but he will leave. James Ward-Prowse will go to another Premier League teame. There are. I mean, Kyle Walker-Peters might end up going somewhere else. Like, there's quite a few.
Livramento? Or is he? Will he play Championship for a year?
I think he'll do 1 year of it. I think he might end up doing 1 year of it from what I hear.
He's class.
But yes, Craig says, awesome. Let me know if I can sponsor a pre-season stream from the FPL Journal.
Love that. I'm sure you can, mate. I'm sure you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sweet. I love that. And obviously, if Leicester go down, Dean, I mean, there's a lot of names in that team
mate,
too.
Yeah, exactly. We don't actually know who's going down, obviously, apart from this. But Leeds, there's a couple. But Leicester, there's loads to eat up there.
Yeah, I mean, FPL Gun says Shea Adams isn't mentioned enough. Yeah, that's because he'll be happy in the Championship, mate.
I think he will too. I mean, I
like Shea Adams too, but I think he'll be very good in the Championship, and I think he'll get a lot of goals, and I think that will work for him.
Yeah, exactly. And Adam Armstrong, they've actually got a good Championship team.
Theo.
Yeah.
Although he can't play twice a week, Theo. There's too many fixtures for him. Yeah, all right, cool. Well, let's answer your questions. I bet no one takes any Leeds players. I bet they do. Nonto, there'll be a lot of clubs looking at him and a few others, a fair few others. But as Dean says, transfer chat coming in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely that. Yeah.
There we go. Guys, get your questions in. Do we see United getting a clean, says Punter? No, we both think Mitro is actually a good buy this week. And when we talk about the XG Chelsea put up against United, and this is Chelsea, it was like 1.9. Good questions, guys. I'm seeing loads of good comments in the chat. And hello to all of the new faces. I haven't seen too much of Fab and Laurie and Kapil and Pete. And Nick. So thank you guys for joining us. And if you don't already subscribe to Chasing Green Arrows, then please do hit that button. And guys, it's only 200 of you and only 61 likes. So show us a bit of love with a like button. Karma says, who's the best Everton defender? Tarkowski is 4.1, offers a bit of goal threat. Mina will start 2, and again, there's goal threat. So one of those guys. Good question.
Yeah, definitely that. Yeah, Ian was tipping Tarkowski the other day when he said he'd get his mate in. Yeah, I like that one a lot. Yeah, keep your questions coming in, guys. We're gonna do a solid 15 minutes or so.
We'll do alternate, will we? Should we go alternate? Can we do that?
Yeah,
for
let's
15?
flip on. Yeah. Oh, Grealish to who? If at
He'll start,
all.
won't he?
I think Grealish does start, doesn't he? I mean, yeah, I don't know if I'd even take Grealish out. I think he's the kind of.
Agreed.
There's not many City players like I'd really want, but I think if you've got Jack Grealish, I would actually keep him for that game. I think he's playing. You saw his interview. He does not want to miss out on the Champions League final at all. Like, he has got to be in his bonnet at the moment. I'd stick with Jack.
Yeah, 100%. What do we think of Jota out? No, I think Jota's going to play. I think Klopp has said, like, some of the guys that haven't been getting minutes will. And I don't think Bobby Firmino will. So I think Jota's the 9.
Yeah,
Definitely
if you're chasing points in your mini league, I think Jota could be the one that does it for you, mate. I don't think there's many people with Jota, so I would stick with what you got. Right, Dario, what to do with Shaw and Robbo? Did you see Robertson was linked with Real Madrid yesterday? Madness. What to do with Shaw and Robertson, because they will not play game week 38, and I have 2 free transfers. Well,
Arsenal, we just said who we thought would get clean sheets, didn't we?
I was going to say, like, we just got to look back through those teams that we were just talking about in terms of, like, what the possibilities are. I mean, look elsewhere in the Liverpool backline potentially. I quite fancy Arsenal at home against Wolves, who don't seem to be in high spirits at the moment. Arsenal want to go out of a bang and have a really good record of clean sheets. Like you say, Everton, you've mentioned too. Who was the other team that we
said Liverpool, Arsenal, didn't we? Everton.
Arsenal.
Was that it? Maybe Man City. I mean, we've got the clean sheet odds we can show on screen from FPL Salah. Should we see where they?
Yeah, it's a good time for that to come up. Actually, yeah. I forgot we had that.
Yeah, me too. We're going to show. Here we go. So, according to the bookies from FPL Salah, you follow him on Twitter, friend of the show. They've got Everton at. I'm surprised Everton are top because and United. I'm surprised at. Oh, and Palace. I mean, Everton and Arsenal. Yeah, they're 2 of the ones with Liverpool less likely than United.
So, how do they come up with this?
I mean, it's based on, I guess it's according to their odds, isn't it? But then how do they work out their odds? I mean, that's all sorts of stuff I don't understand.
I mean, you, to be fair, you did say that you think Everton will get a clean sheet. So you've nailed that. I said Arsenal. So we're there. Man United. I get it. Like, if you don't watch much of Fulham, then you probably think, given Man United's recent record of conceding goals, it's very realistic that they don't concede one here, but Fulham create so many chances and Mitro is hungry. I just don't think Man United keep a clean sheet in that game. Crystal Palace keeping a clean sheet, 36%. Look, Roy Hodgson's got a good record for it, but Nottingham Forest, like, I know their away record's not good, but this is a bit different. Like, they can finally relax.
Yeah, Leicester 31% is weird. Yeah, you're right, Ali.
Well, it says Southampton
what's funny
9.
is we're saying, like, oh, Everton, Arsenal, good clean sheet odds. But remember, none of these are over 50%. Therefore, the bookies think that every single one of these teams are more likely to concede than not concede. So,
that's a really
as Dean
good
says,
point.
clean sheets are not safe. None of them are at 50% plus.
That is a really good point. Yeah, like, Southampton's one basically says to me, if you were to have 100 shots at Southampton, they'll only save 9. That's how I'm reading that.
Also, you look at the bottom of the list and see Southampton and Wolves. And earlier in the show, we spoke about attacking players with the highest ceiling. It comes from Liverpool and it comes from Arsenal. And you only have to look at their opponents who are less like these games are going to be the most likely to be high one end, low the other, which is why I like Arsenal midfielders this week.
Yeah, exactly. Adam says Chelsea 24%. That should be 5%, and I'm a Chelsea fan. Absolutely, yeah. I would not be backing Chelsea for any clean sheets at the moment.
When I saw Shalabar playing in a centre back in a back four, I was like, no,
all over the place, wasn't it? Like, what has Lampard done? Like, what has he actually achieved in this time? Like, nobody's game has risen at all. Like, you at least need to raise somebody from that team. There's no good come from it at all.
True.
I think it's your go, but I'll tee it up. And Mbuemo, Watkins, or Mitro as the best forward pick.
I'm gonna say, I like both Watkins and Mitro, but I'm gonna go Watkins because I do think Brighton will be a bit laxed tomorrow, Sunday.
Yeah, I think that's a fair shout. But before I read this one out, I'm just going to go to Stephen, who said, if you get to 5K subs, will you apply ladies' makeup live? Look, I'll be honest, mate. Probably both of us probably wear makeup more than most women from time to time. So I don't think it'd be much of a challenge. I've seen Gianni going on the Sky Sports with his makeup being done. So
I do love it. I came out the other day. She was like, the makeup artist was like, "Oh, do you want a hot flannel or a wipe?" I was like, "Oh no, I'm good to drive home like this, thanks."
No, thanks. I look great. let my wife just see how good I can look, and I'll wash it off later.
No word of a lie. She's not usually waiting around in the car park for me, but because we were going on somewhere else, I had Cam and Gaia who had been walking around Tesco Extra next to Sky for 2 hours, and I got back and she went, "Oh, your makeup's on heavy today." And I was like, "Yeah, well, you don't usually see it in natural light, do you? Because you usually go home." And she was like, "Yeah, you're going to need to get that off before we go see your mates."
It does look a bit weird in natural light, I have to say. Right, Craig says, I'm leading in all of my leagues. Well done, mate. I have one free transfer. Is it worth taking any hits? I mean, probably not if you're...
Unless there's someone below that can really hurt you. Let's say, well, the one behind you's got Salah and he's going to captain him.
I'm going to say, if a lot of your people... Yeah, if a few teams have got Salah and you haven't, then that's probably worth it. Is there anyone else really? I don't know. Like, there's a few dodgy people in this game week, like Odegaard, that could do some damage, and like people are going to have him, and he could bang, and then there's Rashford too. Like, I don't know what you're going to get from Rashford in this next game week. Like, if he's been a bit unwell or I don't know, like there's always part of me that thinks, will he hold back a bit knowing he's got a cup final coming up? But probably not. I think Rashford's decent, but.
Yeah, I do. My dilemma for the final day, says Dave. After training most of the season, I'm leading my mini league by 2 points. That's so tight. My rival is his bench boost. And bench boost, you got to say already he's on 15 points, maybe 10, because there'll be some of his bench boost won't play. He probably won't get 15 out because there'll be a fair few players that miss out completely. So it's my 11 versus his 15 on bench boost. Any advice? Yeah. Well, just remember that he won't get 15 out because there's always some big names that don't get minutes in game week 38.
It's a hard week to do that, yeah.
He must have forgot to use it. It's a really bad week to use a bench boost. It's probably the worst week of the season to use a bench boost because more than ever you get weird ups. So I think you're good. I think it will probably be 11 versus 12 or 11 versus 13. You're
probably in a stronger position actually because he's going to also try and be too clever probably. So.
He might take hits to try and get 15 out as well.
Yeah, exactly. He might take a couple of hits to try and get players on the bench that don't actually end up playing.
Yeah. Joel Linton to Odegaard. I love punter. If you can afford that, I am 0.2 short of that move. I'm going McAllister to Trossard, who now I think is likely to be out, chance of being out, and Odegaard's 0.2 more. Really annoying.
Yeah.
Good question, punter.
Right, let's see. Wilson, hold or sell? Hold. I mean, I think so. I mean, this last game, I think Wilson's still a hold. I think you'll be fine with him. To be honest, I wouldn't worry about that one.
Do you reckon we might see, Dean? Eddie Howe said something like it might be time to try something a bit different tomorrow, and I wonder if he means a front two. I've been dying to see Isak and Wilson playing a two, and I just wonder if this is the game.
He might as well. I mean. It's funny because Eddie Howe's trying to play down the expectations now at Newcastle and stuff like that. But like the pressure on him next season, if things don't go well for Eddie Howe at the start of the season, they're not like in the top
Conte will
six.
be in.
Yeah, he'll be sacked by Christmas. So like, he's going to be a victim of his own success. So if he ever wanted to see Isak and Wilson, then he should just do it now because it's the only chance he's going to get.
Yeah, agreed. And I do think Wilson will start because Craig asked that question too. I don't have to it's me or you, Dean. I can take it. What player do you think scores the most this game week? Kane, Salah, Haaland. I think Haaland, and I think it's boring, but I'll probably be going there for captain.
Well, yeah. It's a really hard one with Haaland. Like, it does look boring. Part of you does think, oh, will he really play ahead of 2 cup finals? But he probably will. And like at any other stage of the season, if you were just looking through this fixture list and you saw that Man City had Brentford away, would you not be captaining Haaland
Right.
if you thought he was playing? Like you have to sometimes step back and be like, okay, what's my safe play here? Like, how am I going to guarantee points? It should be a guarantee of points.
Yeah,
it should.
I think you're right. What do you reckon,
Tiffany? Yeah, keep Isak and go for Enciso. I mean, look, I think Isak is actually due a goal. So I think it's probably worth.
He's got the better fixture. He's probably got the better fixture, hasn't he, Isak?
I think he probably has exactly that. Like Brighton, we don't really know what we're going to get from the team in that game. We don't know what selection we're going to get. But Isak playing against Chelsea, Tiffy, I don't know if you watched the Man United Chelsea game last night, but Chelsea was like clown behaviour at times. It was absolutely ridiculous. And Isak is going to have a lot of fun if they play like that again.
Yeah, Watkins for cap. I mean, if we're talking about captaincy and we're looking beyond Bruno and Salah outside of Haaland, I would look at players within the same fixture. So let's say a Jota starts or a Mahrez starts, then I'd still go for those teams. If you want to go for a not so fashionable team, an outside punt, a really outside punt for captaincy, you could go to someone like Eze. Forest at home. I don't love the Watkins shout as a captain pick, but owning him could be a good move.
Yeah, captain seems a bit of a stretch to me. By the way, it's over 200 in the chat, heading towards 250. So that's pretty good for ahead of the last game week when a lot of people are giving up. So thanks everyone for turning up one last time for the season. Well, it's not one last time, actually. We've got another show tomorrow, so come back for that one too. Michael says, trying to protect a decent overall rank in the top 1K. Well done, mate. That's unbelievable going. Got 2 free transfers, so with view to protecting rank. Does Wilson Bruno to Kane Odegaard or Eze sound sensible?
That's not protecting rank. You're selling good, highly owned players in Wilson and Bruno.
Yeah, I mean, I guess his thought is for this fixture week of Kane and Odegaard got better fixtures and are actually more likely to bang than Wilson and Bruno are. I guess that's his.
Yeah.
I guess that's what he's trying to throw up here. I mean, if you had a straight pick, G, out of Wilson and Bruno or Kane and Odegaard, who would you prefer?
To be fair, if I had a straight pick, I probably would go Kane and Odegaard.
I think it's right. I think that's right. I think like Kane's record on the final day is unbelievable. There was one year when he missed it through injury. Every other year, he scored on the final day of the season. One year he banged a hat-trick. I think one year he got 2. He loves ending the season with a goal. So I think Kane at Leeds is as much of a sure thing as you could get, to be honest with you. And Odegaard, Arsenal, great fixture against Wolves. And Bruno against Fulham, like, I don't think he'll play the whole game. And his radar's just a bit off. Like, he's been unlucky as well. I know he scored the pen last night, but I don't know. There's just something not exactly there for Bruno, and he's been very unlucky. I don't be too harsh on him, but I think I'd go for Odegaard knowing he's home to Wolves.
Adam says, "Do we do a Chasing Green Arrows mini league?" Dude, look at the bottom ticker. Literally on screen as we speak.
Oh my god! Yeah, I hope you haven't been here every week, Adam, wondering this, because we've 100% got a mini league, and it's got a lot of people in it too. So I'm not sure. I mean,
Ali's probably top.
Yeah, I was gonna say, a pretty safe bet.
We can try and make it easier for you guys looking at graphics. If you want to make our faces bigger, Faz, then do. And then there's perhaps less to look at on screen and you're more likely to read the bottom strap. But we want you subscribing to the channel and joining our league.
Not only is Ali top of our mini league, he's top by 100 points.
Oh, what? He would have won a PS5 last year.
He's absolutely smashed all of us. Like Mark Bleakley is second, Andrew Shaw is third, and Moore is right behind him. And there's some really good scores in here. But Ali is 100 points ahead at the top of the league, and that is just absolutely ludicrous. That goes to show like the difference between like being good at this game and being absolutely ridiculous at this game. This isn't a fluke, by the way. Ali had a good season last year too. This isn't just a one-off. Adam says, "My bad." Don't worry, mate. We're not digging you out. We just feel bad that you weren't in this league. You can definitely get involved in it next season because it will be back. I promise.
The number 2 in our league, Dean, is 485th in the world. So 100 points off 485. So yeah, still we've got a fair few in the top 1,000. So yeah, good job.
That's a really good rank, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Ali says he's 200 points clear in his friends' mini leagues. Dave said he actually wildcard last week, set bench for 38. Oh, wow, you set yourself up. His 15 is very good. Shaw only doubt. You say Shaw's his only doubt, Dave, but as we mentioned, like Jurgen Klopp has said he's going to go with a different 11 and there'll be big names being rested at maybe City, United, and there'll be surprises. There'll be surprises. So yeah, we'll leave it there. 4 punts. Tune into tomorrow's show for some of those differential punts. We're doing a free hit draft and all that jazz.
Yeah. I'm 700th in the Chasing Green Arrows League. What a loser.
I think I'm 200 or something. Mine's not great.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to up our game next season, mate.
I definitely do. You're doing all right.
Thank you guys for so many good questions. We can maybe take one more, or we can say
one last bit of surgery to end the night.
Come on,
there we go.
Give us a juicy question.
Yeah, come on. Someone have a major problem that G can get stuck into. Get his tools out of his bag one more time.
Dean, I've got a problem. The subscribers have really dried up in today's show. I give you guys the opportunity to go with there for subs, and I think we've had like a handful of subscribers come in. So we could really do, if you're watching this, I know loads of you are subscribing going, "Oh, shut up, Johnny, you keep going on about subscribers." But I know there's 20 of you that haven't subscribed. And from those 20, 10 of you aren't listening to me because you're texting your girlfriend or whatever. But there are 5 of you that are on the cusp. So you 5, hit that magic button and subscribe to Chasing Green Arrows, will you?
You don't understand how much it means to us if we get to 5K. So James says, how do we subscribe twice? I don't know. You have to set up another account on another device. I don't know, but go and do it. I'd love it, James. You want to help? Go and grab someone else's phone and set up a YouTube account and follow
it. Adam says, Havertz final game week punch. I can't believe how many Havertz comments I get every bloody week. Was I that bad this season with him? Was I that bad?
You were just very loyal, mate. You're just very loyal to him. You were just convinced it was going to turn, and he never repaid you for that. Blind faith it turned into, I think. Yeah. Will he still be at Chelsea next season? Will you get to pick Havertz ever again?
Mate, I think Poch is going to like him. But I say that about every manager. I do feel like Poch will get something out of him, and he'll play him he won't play him as a 9.
Yeah. No, I think you're right.
Yeah. FPL Guns, Havertz doesn't deserve you. CH says, yeah, I was. I actually had a couple of good... he cost me all those Ollie Watkins points. If I had gone Watkins over Havertz, I think I'd be about 38 points better off. Someone worked it out. I think it might be CH that worked it out. Yeah.
Wow.
38 points is a lot of rank. Like maybe I'd have been
really is
10k or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
There we go. So Dean, we're back tomorrow night.
We're back tomorrow, everyone. Yeah.
What are your plans tomorrow day? You got much on with the family? I think I'm going to try and get a bit of sun tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, mate, I was just looking at me and here. I was like, God, have I got a bit burned today? I might get a bit more burned. And then it's the playoff final, isn't it, tomorrow?
Oh, Coventry.
So Luton, I think when we come on tomorrow, we will know if we have Luton or wicked. Coventry in the league next season, so we can probably do a little bit of analysis on what we're getting. Look, if it's Luton, then chaos, absolute chaos, Merchants.
If it goes to pens, we could be streaming at 7, maybe 7:30.
We might have a live penalty shootout.
Or we do a watch along.
We'll see how it goes, people. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, tomorrow's show we'll definitely be talking about the Premier League's newest club, because we'll have one in the bag.
Who do you reckon it will be?
I think Coventry on pens was my prediction today.
Oh, mate, Luton are my local team growing up. I'm Bedfordshire. So for me, my uncle's a season ticket holder. I've never been a fan. But for me, Luton would be massive. Massive. I'd love that. For the stadium, the fans.
Story. I covered them for 2 seasons. Like, there was one point, I don't know how many years ago now, it might have been 10 years ago now, but there was a point when, no, probably longer than that, but they came close to the Premier League again. They were in the playoffs and stuff. And it was all the same stories you're reading now about them. And then they fell off the face of the earth for a while. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a unique club. It's a tiny stadium, smaller than Bournemouth's. It's like a 10,000 stadium. Laurie says Cov were my local team, so I'd love that. I do think Coventry are a better football team. I do think, like, from what I've seen of the Championship this season, I love Gyökeres. I think Gyökeres would be a great FPL asset.
Okay. I don't even know. I know nothing.
Gyökeres is the Coventry striker. Like, keep an eye on him when you watch the game tomorrow. He's been looked at by a few Premier League clubs. So if Coventry don't go up, Gyökeres will probably end up coming to the Premier League anyway over the summer. But yeah, if Coventry win tomorrow, it'll probably be because of him.
Dean, when you were covering Luton, was there a player? Because a guy in my class at school used to always come in and sing "Enoch Chawamini." There was a guy called. Was he a striker? He was discovered in like a park.
Yeah.
Enoch
I don't know
Chawamini.
if he played actually when I was reporting on him, but I definitely know the fella. I definitely know his name. Mike Newell was the manager. I remember when I was. Yeah. Mike Newell. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, look, we'll be chatting about the result of that game tomorrow. It will either be a 7 or 7:30 start. But for now, guys, thank you for watching. I know you're going to be liking and subscribing in your numbers. Thank you for that. But for now, he's been Dean, I've been Janny, and we've been chasing Green Arrows.